Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. The wait is finally over. Nigeria's acting president Yemi Osinbajo has received a copy of the 2017 budget from the country's National Assembly. The news was confirmed in a statement from his office on Friday, which said the acting president will be reviewing the budget before approving it. The National Assembly last week passed the 2017 budget, earmarked at 7.44 trillion naira. The passage comes 6 months after the budget was presented by President Muhammadu Buhari to the Nigerian Senate. However, the budget was increased by 123 billion naira by the lawmakers. 3 suicide bombers have again attacked the University of Maiduguri in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. The incident, which happened on Thursday evening, is the 4th time the suicide bombers are attacking the school. Police in Borno State have confirmed the incident, but they say that only the suicide bomber was killed in the attack. Fleeing Boko Haram members have relocated from Zambisa Forest in Borno State to Suntai Daji Forest in Taraba State. At least that's what the governor of Taraba State is now claiming. Darius Ishaku, while hosting an army major general in Jalingo, the state capital, requested the deployment of special security forces in the state. The Nigerian army in 2016 dislodged the militants of their entire strongholds, arresting thousands of them. However, a number of the militants are still at large, including the leader of the sect, Abubakar Shekau, who has disputed claims of their defeat by the Nigerian army. Nigeria's military is fighting back against reports claiming that corruption is undermining the war against insurgency. A new report by Transparency International says corruption in the army had left the military without, quote, vital equipment, under-resourced and insufficiently trained, as well as low in morale. Obviously not so pleased with that report, the military has reacted to the allegations by the international watchdog, describing it as false and untrue.
Suspect an agenda to discredit us, an agenda to discourage international support. For your information, I just came back from a training sponsored by the United Kingdom, which is targeted at what? Enhancing me to perform well on this job. The same way we have the United States of America, we have France, we have the United Kingdom, we have Germany, amongst others, we have Israel, all supporting us. The moment they hear this kind of a thing, what do you think will happen? They'll become discouraged. They'll withdraw their support. That is it. Ministry of Defense no longer uses contractors or vendors. What I mean by that is that for any procurement, we'll deal directly with the government. Most of military equipment are produced by companies under the military industrial complex and not individuals. So that is what I mean. No longer assuming we want to buy anything from the US, we don't go to the company, we go through US government to government dealing. There is an anti-corruption spirit in every Nigerian now, and that spirit is in Ministry of Defense and in Armed Forces of Nigeria and in Defense Headquarters. Thank you.
More on our top stories. Rescue officials say at least 3 people have been confirmed dead after a 3-story building collapsed in Lagos State, southwest Nigeria. The incident occurred at around 2 p.m. on Thursday at Richard Abimbola Street, Isolo, Lagos. Officials say the building was still under construction before it collapsed. 19 people, all of them were injured, were rescued from the structure. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan, and a subsidiary of ExxonMobil Corporation, Mobil, have reached an agreement to end a dispute over the sacking of some employees. This is coming a week after Mobil Producing Nigeria branch of Pengasan rejected a directive from the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachiku, that its industrial action should be suspended. The oil workers say they are protesting the alleged refusal of the oil major to honor an agreement that said it would review the sacking of 83 employees in December last year. A federal high court sitting in Lagos has ordered the final forfeiture of the sum of $449 million naira, I beg your pardon, discovered in an abandoned shop in Victoria Island, Lagos. The huge amount of money was discovered last month by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission following a tip-off by a whistleblower in the country. An order given by the court for any interested party to provide proof of ownership for the money expired several days ago. The Ministry of Transport says the Southeast railway lines are not excluded from the federal government's plan to upgrade the country's railways. On April 26, President Muhammadu Buhari, in a letter to the National Assembly, sought the approval of the lawmakers to borrow $5.851 billion for the upgrade of various sections of the Nigerian railway. The Senate then summoned Rotimi Amechi, who is the Minister of Transport, to explain why the eastern passage of the country's rail lines were excluded from the proposed loan from the China Exim Bank. Now responding to these claims, Yetunde Shunaike, who is the ministry's director of public relations, said the upgrade of the rail project would cut across various sections of the country. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has ordered all government agencies to submit its 2017 budget to the Nigerian Senate. The order comes after the Senate barred all government agencies from spending until they present their budget for approval. The resolution comes after the House Committee on Budget revealed that no government agency had submitted their budget for this year. The Senate condemned the situation and gave the agencies an ultimatum of 2 weeks to submit the budget.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello, Alhaji. Right now I'm in Abuja. No. Hello, Adamu. Right now I'm in Kano. Yes. When I get back, I will just call you. Look, what is wrong with you? I'm talking on the phone and you are gesticulating and doing. What's wrong with you?
Daddy, where exactly are we as we speak?
Are you alright? This is Lagos.
Well, you just lied to someone that we're in Abuja.
Keep quiet. Who told you can tell an elderly person is lying?
Daddy, you just lied. And by lying, you're raising corrupt children for the future of Nigeria. That is corruption, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. It's now time for business news with Fidelia Aguncha. Thank you, Thelma. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has reviewed its stance on the economy of South Africa for the 2017 fiscal year, stating that the economy will grow by 1%. Earlier in the year, the IMF said Nigeria and South Africa, the largest economies on the African continent, will grow at a pace of 0.8% for 2017. However, the IMF has now reviewed its report, putting South Africa's economy at a faster pace than Nigeria's economy. The Nigerian government have signed and endorsed 3 executive orders to promote the growth of businesses in the country, as well as local content and timely submission of annual budgetary estimates. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo signed the orders on Thursday in Abuja, the nation's capital. The first order focuses on the promotion of transparency and efficiency in the business environment to facilitate the ease of doing business in the country. The second order promotes support for local content in public procurement by the federal government, while the third order ensures timely submission of annual budgetary estimates by all statutory and non-statutory agencies, including companies owned by the federal government. General Electric plans to launch a repair and service plan for power turbines in Nigeria. The group also says it has invested over $100 million as it seeks to tap growing demand for gas-fired power plants in Nigeria. Nigeria privatized its electricity sector in 2013, aiming to end decades of blackouts which have hampered economic growth. Officials said demand for gas in Nigeria is estimated to rise to 3 billion standard cubic feet.
Oil prices were heading for a second week of gains and growing expectations that big crude exporters will extend output cuts to curb a persistent glut in inventories. Brent crude was up 78 cents to trade at $53.29 a barrel, while US crude was up 71 cents at $50.6 a barrel. An OPEC panel reviewing scenarios for the oil producers group meeting next week is looking at the option of deepening and extending a deal to reduce crude output. That's all on business. More stories coming up. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Nah, how work?
Oh, correct, Oga.
Yeah. What is it that you are doing?
Oga, they command the part now. Make we go sell for.
Oga, na correct kuza be this o. Oga Titus and him boys them. They do am. They go command the original parts, sell am, make plenty kuza.
No wonder our customers bring the generator back to our workshop because they bad. And not because of stuff.
Na because say they overuse the generator. Plus say NEPA no dey give them electricity.
Ngwanu, before I open my eye, Makachuku, look at my talk in the heaven. Replace this original generator parts back inside this generator of my customer. In short, before una do am, frog jump. One, four jump. 1, 2, 1. Stealing of generator parts or changing of original parts to a fake one. That is corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
South Sudan's pro-government forces killed at least 114 civilians in and around Yei town between July 2016 and January 2017. This is what United Nations is now claiming. These pro-government forces also indulged in other crimes like rape, looting and torture, according to the UN. Crisis surged in the region when the Sudan's People Liberation Army, loyal to President Salva Kiir, pursued their rival and former Deputy President Riek Machar and a small band of followers as they fled from the capital of Juba into neighboring Congo. France President Emmanuel Macron says he will continue in the fight against Islamist terrorists in Mali. Macron also reaffirmed his commitment to helping the West African country, where French soldiers have been facing extremists since 2013. Last year, jihadists carried out deadly attacks on hotels in all three countries, with foreign tourists among the victims. The perpetrators of terrorist attacks in France over the past 3 years have had African links, according to French intelligence agencies. Moving on to sports stories now, the Nigerian Football Federation has confirmed that the Super Eagles friendly match against Corsica will go on as scheduled. Media reports earlier this week had suggested that the Eagles game against Corsica was cancelled on the request of Coach General, but the NFF has refuted that claim. A statement from the NFF says the Corsica game will still be played on May 26th in Paris, with another game against Togo scheduled for June 1st. Still in Paris. The English Football Association has approved a new law which recommends retrospective ban for players found guilty of simulation. The law, according to a statement from the body, prescribed a 2-match ban for any offender. The evidence will be reviewed by a panel which will consist of a former referee, a former manager and a former footballer. England is the second country to approve the law after neighbours Scotland. Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger says his future at the club will be decided at a board meeting after the FA Cup final on May 27, 2017. The 67-year-old Frenchman has been with the Gunners since 1996, but his contract comes to an end this summer. The North London side face Premier League champions Chelsea at Wembley Stadium. The Gunners' only hope of claiming a trophy this season. Well, that's all we have on news now. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Thelma Okoro.